Back, everyone, to another episode of the Open Peace Podcast. Finally back to an introduction for once. Today we have Sameh and Uriya, two musicians who you might know from the very viral video about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the very inflamed emotions around it, and how certain groups of people basically interact with each other in this country and where they're coming from, and how they entirely miss each other in the conversation. So they have some new music coming out, and I'm sure we'll get to that. But for now, Uriya, Sameh, why don't you guys just give us a little introduction about yourselves, how you met each other, and how you came up with the idea for the music video.
Abu Boaz, start please.
Islam Habibi. Hi everyone, I'm Uriya, 31 years old, currently live in a small town in Israel. I like to say that until age 24, I was a mainstream douchebag, aspiring to become successful according to society's definitions of success, and something happened when I was 24. I had the spiritual revolution. I started reading books about consciousness and human potential and slowly start to change myself. And, the main thing was to question the narratives that I grew up on. 4 years into this process, June 2018, I encountered an American video clip by an artist, a rapper called Joyner Lucas. The song was called I'm Not Racist. It presents the racism between blacks and whites in the US, and it really touched my heart. And, I felt a punch to the stomach. What an artistic way to convey a message, it really blew my mind. I decided to do an Israeli version of it. I didn't even know what that means. There are so many dichotomies in Israel, like right-wing, left-wing, religious, secular, Mizrahi, Ashkenazi, you name it, But Jewish-Arab rift is the most prominent one in Israel, at least for me. I grew up in a very Zionist family, and, I couldn't understand why Arabs are trying to kill us, That's how I saw the world, that simplistic. Eventually, I started writing lyrics, understood that I don't know much about the extremes on both sides, went on a personal journey across the country, meeting Arabs and Jews, interviewing them, asking them tough questions about our reality and existence. Eventually, in a 2-year process, translating their words into a 7-minute rap song, only to understand two basic things. First, that this project has a lot of potential to reach people's hearts and to change and, to raise awareness in society. And two, that I can't do it alone. I don't have the voice. I don't have the perspective. And if I want the project to be really authentic, I must find a partner. That's when I was introduced, coincidentally, to Sameh. We met, and the rest is history. Maybe you can share your perspective.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. My name is Sameh Nasr Abdullah bin Muhammad bin Rabi' Zakut, but my nickname is Saz. I was born and raised in a nice suburb called Ramle. It's 20 minutes from Jerusalem and 20 minutes between Tel Aviv. It's in the middle. I'm an artist or a music lyricist, rapper, actor since almost 20 years. And I met this amazing guy, not the douchebag, and you can say this is one of the best moments I had in my life, to meet a special person like Uriya. And since then, from strangers, we became best friends.
Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. And not only did you become best friends, you came together to produce one of, for me anyway, maybe this is only my personal opinion, but it's one of the best rap songs since Tupac and Changes, for me anyway. That's no, seriously, guys.
Are you comparing my man to Tupac? Because those are dangerous words.
No, I am indeed. I just think that these guys, what they did and what they represented within the song just sums up pretty much the feeling on the street here within both communities, within the Jewish society and the Arab community. I must say as well, Saz, one of the lyrics that you said in the song, you said something about Jews forgetting what it's like to be a minority, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And that really hit home, that really hit home, because I come from a Syrian Jewish background where, Jews were a minority in Syria and they were persecuted against. And many Jews that live abroad today are living as minorities. And I think that line hits home so hard because it's so true. There is a feeling here within Israel that we are the majority, we dictate everything. And I think that specific line can really hit home hard to Israelis when they're listening to the song,
Yeah. But that's also kind of the lure of the country to Jews. Like Jews everywhere grew up as minorities. Like I grew up as a minority.
Yeah.
And while I do feel American and I love this country, I really do. You can ask any of my friends. Like as Kane says, he's never met a bigger patriot than me.
It's true.
I also feel as if I kind of am it. Like I'm not American at the same time. It's kind of a very weird feeling being a minority. So like that's why probably I find myself sympathizing with the Palestinians and with the Arab Israelis a lot easier because like I get it. You feel like you belong here, but you also don't. Like there's just something where you just feel like there's not really a place for you. There's not much space. Like there's maybe a few concessions here and there, some minor acknowledgments, but it doesn't really feel welcoming,
Right.
And it's a very difficult feeling, especially if it's the country you're born in. And no matter how much you love it, you always just feel like it doesn't love you back.
Yeah, but I think no matter what, you have to keep the light up and you have to keep your faith. And no matter what, don't let them get you. They just hating, how we say in America. They just hating. So what? Doesn't have to stop you, man. The opposite could motivate you to change your life and pursue for happiness and self to achieve things in life. Doesn't have to stop you.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. there, Saz. The haters are always going to hate, as they say. You just got to put those noises and voices to the side and get on with your business. I did hear you guys have a new song out. Is that right? What's the new song about and what's it called?
The new song is called Manfas, which is roughly translated into an airway, an opening of fresh air. It talks about the mutual fate, the situation where we are both, and this the clip also supports this in the visual we created for the song, that we are both tied to the same fate, and trying to get out of it individually will end with zero practical results. And basically that we are both sufferers from the situation, from the current leadership, from taking upon ourselves the past traumas we inherited from our parents. And it's basically an emotional song, a calling out for a change, for leaders to understand that millions of Jews and Arabs from each side are not going to go anywhere, and that we have the power to overcome it as a society.
Yeah. So it's not about Memphis, Tennessee.
No. It's
I mean,
Memphis. No, it's Memphis, not Memphis. Memphis.
It's close enough. I'm just saying.
It'll get us more numbers and views in America, so be it, man.
I mean, if y'all want to catch that southern market, I'm just saying, just get yourself an old cotton plantation, start waving around that Confederate cross. Trust me, you'll get the Tennessee market.
That's a good one.
Is it? I phoned that one in. I can do better.
No, I think Jared, you're always bringing a nice comedic effect to the podcast. It's always great to have you back on now that you're settled back in America.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was wondering with you guys is, do you have any plans for the future? Like in terms of, because really, I think that what you guys did in coming together is really showing the younger generation, the Shabab, the younger ones on both the Israeli side and on the Palestinian side, that look, we can sit down, we can not only communicate, but we can produce amazing music. We can become best of friends, like you guys said. How can you guys help influence the younger generation, and is that something that you plan to do?
Yeah, I mean, I want to give a couple of minutes rundown of our current status, because it really relates to the first question of what went down and how do we meet. So,
Sure.
after 2 years of personal journey, I met Saz. We became close friends. We had an immediate chemistry, like working together and talking about all the real stuff on the ground: politics, love, family, history, everything. And after another third year, 1 year of mutual work together, we changed the Arabic side to Arabic words. We like I brought in a partner. I had to let go of the control. And then the video was published in a very holistic timing. It went viral. It reached hundreds of millions of people across the world through traditional media. And we got a lot of attention and opportunities since the publishment of the first video. And we had
Hmm.
to understand, how are we pushing this together? I mean, Saz has his own ambitions as a musician, an actor, a singer. I'm an educator. I have a dream to open a school and establish a settlement in the north of the country. How do you combine these things? So we took some time. We really focused on maintaining our authenticity. And we decided eventually to establish a brand called Dugri, which is based on the first video, obviously. This
Hmm.
brand has three main goals. First goal for us, a personal egocentric goal, is to be creators, to be in creation mode, to create a mechanism where we are able to create content on a regular basis and to make money out of it in order to sustain ourselves and to keep reaching out to the people, to the grassroots. The second goal would be to promote straight talk, to promote authentic communications, to somehow inspire our people and the communities around us to believe in a better future through this kind of language, this kind of straightforward approach and understanding. And the third most practical goal for us would be to build a community. Like we want to aggregate young, moderate Israelis and Palestinians who believe in a mutually beneficial future, and to actually be in charge of the platforms aggregating the people, like centralizing that kind of work and communications. So we're working on our own podcast. We are working on educational lectures in NGOs and different educational institutions. And we are working on inspiring new content, whether it be songs or different collaborations or a web series. And we have like millions of ideas. We are working on also building an operation to support all those ideas. So it's a very exciting time for us. And that's like a rundown of where are we taking this.
Amazing, amazing, and I only want to wish you, the best of luck. And if there's anything that we can do here on the Open Peace podcast to help you guys along the way, we're definitely here for you, and we will back you, to the moon and back. Really, it's fantastic endeavor, and really all the success in the world, my friends. Really,
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Shukran.
much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man.
And while we're because I'm going to take a small tangent here because I heard Uriya said talk about a solution, something that is acceptable for both sides. I just want to get started on how I think about the solution and how we could talk about it. Because, like, for me personally, I think two-state at this point is dead. I don't think a two-state is possible. While two-state is my ideal, I'm also pragmatic. And we need to work with the cards we have to make the current future, as equitable as possible for both sides. For me, I think the best hope is a negotiated annexation, because I think annexation is going to happen. And I
me
think
and Jared disagree. We disagree on this.
we disagree on that. Like, Amir still holds out hope. I think we need to start working with the situation we have. But like a negotiated annexation is, I think, the best we're going to get. Like maybe a new, like a treaty of like essentially a new country that unites both the West Bank and Israel proper, with like a lot more autonomy towards the mechuzot, with the West Bank essentially becoming a new mechuz, and with its own miniature parliament, like kind of like how like we have states here in America. I'm thinking we can do that with the mechuzot, give some autonomy there, while also having it technically be the same country. I think for now that would be my pragmatic ideal. I don't know about you guys or what you guys think about that.
Listen, I'm not a politician. I don't have the magic. I'm not a magician. I'm gonna tell you what is the solutions. But just to make an assumption about kind of a solution, first of all, I think it's not a political side first. I think it's more the recognition a different narrative, a different people, different story of this country, this area. Because since 48, I think we've been lying to ourselves. And
Yeah.
every time in there, we have war, we have clashes, we have everything because we don't really talk straight. You know what I'm saying? That's the basic stuff. We don't really
Yeah.
talk straight. We just lie. We just save face. Second thing that I think that it should be in Israel, it's personally is to teach Arabic or to an average Arab guy in Israel speaks at least three languages. An Israeli guy barely speaks two. So it means, and I'm saying that he doesn't speak Arabic. So that's one of the reasons, I think one of the solutions even for us to kind of find this grassroots is when you understand the language of the other side, it's easier to communicate. And the other side feels he's been treated as equal. Like, oh, you know my language, so now we can talk. Let's talk straight. So, 90% of Arabs in Israel and Palestinians, even in the West Bank, by the way, in Gaza, they speak Hebrew. They speak Hebrew.
Yeah.
But 90% of Israelis, or 94% to be more specific, don't speak Arabic at all, not even a basic conversation. So how you can hate the other side when you don't speak his language? You don't nothing about the enemy. So for me, this, during the Let's Talk Straight, during the duo with Uriya and the process we went through, I understood that there's some solutions we can offer, and not to go big, but language is basic stuff or basic thing to from there to really think about more deeply and more strategically how to find a solution to our situation. So for me, in this point, that's my two solutions, or two kind of so-called solutions to get out what we've been through the last 74 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can share
Yeah,
my
you want to add
perspective.
something, Habibi?
Yeah, I can share my perspective. I mean, there wasn't a clear question. There was Jared sharing with us his understanding and opinion about this situation on the ground. And I want to actually like take a step, to rise above this and to look at it from like a higher, I would say, higher level, and to speak about, the terminology as a solution, like Sameh and I, we are young people. I am an educator. You could call us social activists in a sense, like thought leaders. I don't know, but how important is my opinion towards a solution, like a practical political solution? So we don't deal with the political solution because it's not in our power and it's not pragmatic whatsoever. It's just talk. We deal with the societal issue, like social connection to the grassroots level. So I don't look at the situation and the reality as a problem that needs to be solved. I look at it as an unfortunate reality that was like, as a result of years of wrongdoings and bad leadership, and it doesn't really matter also the reasons. We're trying to rise above the reasons and to say, listen, the current reality is that millions from both sides are living here. The common ground is bigger than the differences. Like we want to fulfill ourselves, we want to raise a family, we want to drink a beer or anything else that calms us down at the end of the day. And around that we can build a community of young moderates. So the solution for us is much more on the humanistic level and much more on the terminology level than how would the two countries or the two nations decide practicalities about politics. For me, in my opinion, if you ask my personal opinion as Uriya, I do not see a future without a Palestinian state, Jared. I think that there's too much differences in the culture and in the state of mind. And I feel like if we can't even deal here with our own differences as Mizrahi and Ashkenazi, right and left wing. We are on a verge of a civil war, So I'm thinking that it's not pragmatic to even think about annexation when it comes to how will we deal with it. But I honestly, like, to summarize this, I honestly believe that my opinion does not matter so much. It's only one more Jewish opinion. What we are focused on is reaching the people's hearts and saying, listen, guys, there should be a change in the state of mind. We are in this together. We kind of look alike. There's no much differences. We both sing rap. We both love, making jokes and looking at videos on social media. Let's come together around that rather than yell the stuff that our parents have been yelling for many, many years.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to agree with you, Uriya, and with Saz, with a lot of the things you were saying as well. They hit home. I believe that we need to lay down the foundations for peace. I think before we tried to build the house already, but there's no foundation. You know, we rushed into Oslo and everything blew up, and intifada and balagan and wars, and we tried to do the disengagement and balagan and wars, and this is not good. We need to really dig the holes, lay the foundation, get the understanding. And Saz, what you said about the language, I think is key as well.
Well, you've been saying that for a long time. You've been busting your ass trying to learn Arabic.
Yeah, I have, and you know, it really does help because it's a connector. You know, it's straight away a connector, and I can tell you, I used to work as an ambulance driver in London a few years ago, and there was a Syrian patient of mine who was he was injured in an accident, you know, and he could barely speak. He couldn't speak. He was in a very bad way. But I said a few words to him in Arabic, and you could see his eyes light up. He knew that he was in good hands. He knew that I was going to look after him. He knew that everything was okay in that situation. I mean, obviously not everything was okay with him, but that I was there for him. I was going to help transfer him, and everything would work out. So I think learning the language is really key. Another thing that I think is missed is that there are two different narratives going on here, and then maybe a lot of other side narratives of those two main narratives. I think for a brighter future, we need people to understand that there's two different narratives and understand each other's perspective and where each person is coming from. And that's why I think your song, Let's Talk Straight, Let's Talk Dugri, is perfect for that, because it shows that. It shows how the Israeli is feeling inside. You know, Uriya, when you say, you know, afilu bedui bemadim nira li chashud, you know, that hits home. That hits home for Israelis that have served in the army, that see the situation in the south. And I think that through music, through language, through education, you know, you said you're an educator, Uriya. I'm a big believer in education. My mum's a teacher. Both my sisters are teachers. And I think that that's the way forward. If we can affect the younger generation and the people our age, we're gonna bear those fruits in years to come, and we're gonna be able to pick them, and we will have a more peaceful Israel and Middle East in all, hopefully. You know,
yeah,
that's definitely the aim.
Yeah, and you know, like back to like the core of the narratives, I think the core of both the Israeli and the Palestinian narrative are kind of the same. I mean, like, think about it. The core of both of our narratives is we are victims, so we fight. That's basically what it is. The Jews see ourselves as victims. You know, for 2,000 years of the Roman exile, we were oppressed wherever we were. That's why we fight. We came home and we fight, so we're not victims anymore. Palestinian narrative is we are victims, and if we fight, we won't be. You know, it's like the core of it is we both see ourselves as victims, and that's why we fight. And like I feel like we're just gonna go in circles with that. So I feel like at some point the core narrative needs to change. It can't just be about like the recognition of each other's legitimacy. The core of it needs to switch.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, you know, like there is an illusional, like there is an illusion that like recognition in one suffering means like the danger of the other narrative, the other's perspective. And I feel like for me, the process that I went through with Sameh really taught me to overcome this illusion, you know, by learning about the Nakba, you know, learning about the other perspective of what happened in 48, understanding that Independence Day and the Nakba are like two numbers, like two perspectives, two sides of the same coin, you know, like you look at the number, one is saying it's 6, one is saying it's 9, but they're only looking from different sides. And, you know, the part about the language, definitely I relate to, like I'm trying to learn Arabic now, it's hard, but how can I be friends and, you know, like how can I make peace, you know, with somebody that when I hear their accent, I'm suspicious, you know? So I really relate. And I think that the basic thing would be to understand that by acknowledging the fact that Sameh, even though he has an Israeli ID, the fact that he identifies as a Palestinian is not like betrayal in the country that he's part of, and it's not something that I should be afraid of. Not even the Palestinian flag, because like even if I mean, Jared is comparing the narratives. He's comparing Israel to Palestine. The Jewish people, which are united within the country of Israel today, have a history that is proven and that is, documented on so many levels. And I believe that there is a difference between Israel and Palestine in that sense. But the fact that today there is a peoplehood, there is a group of people that identify themselves as Palestinians. They are connected to this land in many, many ways, and they wish to have self-determination. That's enough for us to understand that, like, we don't have the legitimacy to decide for them how to go about this. So I don't know if comparing the things is something that I feel comfortable with, because I'm not educated enough, and like, I don't want to go into the specifics of justifying who has more. Like, it's different, but it doesn't matter anymore. We think about the future. We think about what can be done in order to create a reality of maximum well-being for maximum beings. And that's my focus here today. I don't value myself enough to be able to talk and justify my points, but I'm thinking about the holistic future I want for my people, my children.
For sure. For sure. I get that, Uriya, and I do think that, as an educator, it really does fall on people like yourself who want to see the change, go about and really, influence that younger generation and try and get people to understand that this is way more complex than, two sides. You're right, I'm wrong, he's right, they're wrong. It's way more complex than that.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm only 33 years old, and I'm sure I don't even know like 5% of the things that have gone on here. So it really does fall upon your shoulders and people like yourself and people like Saz, to come out and to speak the truth and to get through to the younger generation. One thing I have been wondering about, Saz, or Sameh, how do you find people's responses to your video within the Palestinian community? I mean, I know the response in Israel and worldwide has been fantastic. What has your response been from the Palestinian side?
For the first video, let's talk straight, because it's been like a while since it's out.
Yeah.
We released it on the ceasefire on May the 20th. So it was really, time was critical. Timing was everything back then. And most of the Palestinians' reactions were, for me as a Palestinian, they like, oh, finally somebody said some truth. Somebody said, to be honest, he kept it real. He didn't try to, to be a token Arab, to be this nice Arab dude to convince Israelis that we're good. No, I just said what I feel. I just said what they felt. They really shared it. Like hundreds of people shared the video. Most of the people even who approached us, even Uriya came from the West Bank, Gaza, Indonesia, even foreign countries, not just Palestine and Israel. And the Palestinian community in Israel and outside, they felt like where we have been, or where I have been, like, why you didn't say that before? And people felt like, somebody just let their rage went out, and now what we should do. So most of the messages I have from Palestinians, they were support messages. They were like saying somebody is like representing us, representing this this none-heard voice, since 48 people don't really hear it. Honestly, I was surprised. Like, I've been in this so-called industry for many years, but this is first time that people from age 14 to 60, 70 just texted me, saw me on television, or saw me on the street, or texted me, anything, you name it. The support was so huge. And every time I say it, for each hate message we had, both of us or myself, we had hundreds of love messages and support. So I can say we did a great job. And because it was a true and honest video and project, and not trying to save face to anybody and say everything is good, we have coexistence and peace. No, we said, and like in hip hop, he's saying we kept it real, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's the most of comments and messages I had from the Palestinian community.
It's great to know. It's great to know, and you know, you're always going to get those hate messages. Unfortunately, you know, online or in music, whatever you're doing, you're always going to get a few idiots. But it's so great to know that there was such a good feeling from the Palestinian community. It's really, really good to know. Uriya, what was your response from maybe your friends, family, and the wider Israeli community? How did they take to it?
Yeah, we got a wide, range of responses from my people, my family, my friends, my communities. Family is like basically, supportive, completely supporting me. The process, in general, the personal process that I am going through, the spiritual growth, asking questions and questioning stuff that I learned as a child. I think that they respect that. They also try to follow it and to like some of the racism, the hidden racism that exists within my family is slowly opening up and changing due to the process that I'm going through. So that's an interesting thing happening with my family. But when it comes to the communities I'm part of, I hear the entire spectrum of you are such a racist. What kind of language did you use in the Let's Talk Straight video? This is so right wing, ignorant. Why are you using this language? It only creates more hate and more separation. And they don't understand the art. They take it literally.
When it was whoosh.
Yeah, and like the whole idea of putting a mirror in front of society, they like literally can't see it. Like they don't understand that this is not me who believes in the words that I'm using. And the entire other part of the spectrum, which is, you are a left-wing hypocrite kissing Arab ass, trying to, you are breaking the silence, like, so what if you are a combat soldier? You know nothing. I grew up in a Zionist family. My grandfather was a legendary paratrooper who was a company commander, who broke in through the Lions Gate in '67. And I was a combat officer, in the IDF, and I was also an educator for a pro-Israel organization called Stand With Us. And like all my life, I was completely dedicated to the idea of the Jewish people self-determination in the state of Israel. But today I opened up, and it doesn't mean that I am a traitor. It only means that I understand a wider spectrum of complexity. And as you said, Amir, haters gonna hate, and like I really don't care. I'm not trying to go and search for results. Like I'm not measuring myself in the amount of people that I change their minds. I'm measuring myself through the approach, how much I believe in the things that I do. If I get a little views or a lot of views, I don't care. But if I go and meet young people, Jews and Arabs, and I talk to them, give them a lecture of 60 minutes, and it turns out to a 3.5-hour conversation where they don't let us go. They ask us a bunch of questions of the style. They reach out to us through the WhatsApp now. They text me and they ask me questions. So that's the process that I'm going for, a long-term marathon rather than a viral sprint, And we very much believe in what we're doing. Just to summarize it, I want to say it's in leadership of not knowing. Like politicians and the current leaders we have in this world, they say, "Follow me, I know the way."
Exactly.
What I'm trying to say is, "Follow me, I don't know the way, but I know the road."
Follow me, I have no fucking idea where I'm going. What is that? A cliff? Who cares? Let's just go.
Exactly.
I love it.
Maybe there'll be a net below that cliff, and everyone.
Who knows? Exactly.
Everyone will be safe.
It's our game.
That's how I plan to run for president.
Carrying us from place to place,
We've just been doing our own Squid Game. Call it Uriya and Saad Squid Game. Just come.
Oh, I mean, look. You should talk to your agent about that. You're onto something.
Let's think about it.
Palestinian Squid Game. Who gets an Israeli ID?
I'm telling you, Jared needs to segue into stand-up comedy. We're trying to push him, we're trying to push him down this road.
I could, but I have my best material when I'm drunk.
So we just get you a few beers. What's the problem? That's cheap enough, you know.
Yeah, I guess. There's a difference between cheap drunk and good drunk. There is.
All right.
I mean,
So on the weekend we can push it to whiskey, no problem.
we can push it to whiskey. Look, the difference for me between bad drunk and good drunk. On good drunk, I can speak Russian somehow. I have no idea how that happens. And I'm
weird.
it's so funny. So I was hanging out with Kane. We went out drinking one day, and we're just like walking back to his place, just like pissed out of our minds. And there's this Russian guy bumps into us, and he bumps into Kane, starts cussing out Kane in Russian, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like watching this whole thing go down, and of course I start to get into it. He goes like he's just like cussing in Russian. I ended up just getting into his face and saying, "Men don't speak like that." Apparently in Russian. I had no idea I did it. He was shocked, walked away, and Kane looked at me. He was just like, "What did you say?" I said, "Men don't speak like that." And he's just like, "In Russian? Was it?" He's like, "Yeah. How do you say that?" And I'm just like, "I don't know."
Maybe you've unlocked like a special part of your brain, you know, when you drink vodka or something, it activates.
I think at 10 beers I speak Russian. I want to find out how many till I can speak Chinese. That's the real question.
Or Arabic.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be good, Saz. If you have any way to speed up my learning of Arabic, that would be great, bro.
I don't think alcohol is one of the solutions, but maybe a Jared it works.
Yeah. That's like the world's dumbest superpower I
have. One question that I did have for you as well, Uriya. You said you had like a spiritual awakening at 24. I'm presuming that's like when you finished your service for the IDF. So was there anything that triggered that, or like how did that come about?
I don't know. I mean, that's a really personal question, but yeah, for sure I can share, you know, it's not like I finished the army around 23, more or less. I traveled in South America, a very common post-army trip abroad, you know, for Israelis to taste a little bit freedom. You know, we don't get to go to college at the age of 18. I'm assuming everybody knows that. So after coming back, I obviously decided to go study electrical engineering. You know, my mom really supported that, and she thought it would be good and easy for me. But like what triggered my transformation was the relationship I had with my younger brother. He was always, you know, in a deeper search than I was, and I was more. I tended to go to belonging, you know, to be part of a group. I was a basketball player. I was looking for the girls, the parties, the fun. I was a mainstream douchebag, you know.
Yeah.
And he was
always the average Israeli.
Yeah, he was always a searcher. He was also always a more unique soul. And he introduced me to some ideas because we came together and we became better friends at that age for some reason. And I really, you know, like everything he gave me to read and the stuff that he brought to my life, I was like, man, listen, you're in a cult. Stay away from me. I'm not interested. I was an electrical engineering student and I really had no time to read books. Like I told him, you're a young guy, you don't understand. But after starting to read some book, like only at chapter 9 or something, like I felt a coin dropping, and all of a sudden my life playground where I can see the mechanism behind everything that I do and how much I am unaware of my being, you know. And slowly, very, very slowly, things started to change. After 1 year of study, I dropped out of engineering school and went on to question everything, basically. Like I was super focused on my personal growth and studying myself and the universe, slowly starting to acknowledge things around me that I never knew existed before. And 4 years into this process, that was when I started Let's Talk Straight as a, you know, side project. I was a student, I was working full time as an educator, but it was really something that came from inside me. And just to wrap this up, I can say that at the end of 2018, my older brother, he passed away of pancreatic cancer. And that was also something that very much influenced our family and my ambition to be focused on the things that I believe in and that I'm passionate about, rather than the things that society encourages me to be part of, you know. That's why Let's Talk Straight got the attention and the energies that it deserves to become what it is today.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Urian. First of all, let me join you, Zichronah Levracha, to your older bro. May he rest in peace. I'm sure if he was anywhere near as lovely as you, he's straight up there in heaven, bro, for sure.
Much more lovely than I am.
Amazing. So thank you so much for sharing. I did have a question for you as well, Sameh. When Uriya proposed to you, getting involved in the project, what was kind of your initial thought, and did you ever expect it to blow up the way that it did and become as big as it did?
Whoa. Um, I have a confession to make, and Uriya is my witness. When he first approached me, he called me. Back then, I was running a bar, a restaurant in Yafa. It's called Manshia. And yeah, and he told me, "Hey,
Everybody go to Manshia.
I'm not there anymore. Sorry, but whatever, man." So he called me. He gave me a call. He introduced himself. I'm Uriya Rosenman. I'm a student. I'm a educator. I'm this and that. I invited him to my place, and I think the first 3-4 months from the minute he came to my place, first minute I met him, I noticed something strange in a good way, or I'm gonna say it now after a year and a half being friends with Uriya. It's just shining eyes. Something shined in his eyes. He was honest. He was truth. And you see when somebody's dedicated to something, you can see it in his eyes. So he was fully dedicated to his project. And at first I was suspicious, but after the first meeting, we sat for like 2-3 hours, just drinking, talking, and he let me hear the song. He recorded the song for both sides, the Israeli and the Palestinian, in Hebrew, all in Hebrew. And then I just started, I moved to Tel Aviv back then, and then we started to meet at least once a week. And it took us maybe 3-4 months that we built up the trust. I was first afraid that it's another Israeli white boy who want to use this Palestinian and kind of to do something, peace songs and this kind of fake projects that I did before. So I had this bad history with this kind of projects. But this time was unique. It was different. It was Uriya, not a company or a huge artist who want to do something because he want to get his name out.
Yeah.
He approached me as a authentic way, Dugri, simple Uriya, without this bullshit. And after 3 months of building the trust, I knew that this guy is different. This guy is not another Israeli guy that I met. And suddenly we just became friends. Like I didn't believe at first in the project. I didn't believe that it's something gonna happen from that. But Uriya's vision was so clear. He told me, listen to me, bro. Takshiv li tov. I remember the word. Takshiv li tov. Listen to me well. It's gonna be a huge project. Wow, it's gonna be so good. It's like okay. But after 3-4 months working with Uriya, and then we step up the game, how you say, we started to meet 2-3 times a week. And I was amazed. I understood that after many years, so-called again industry, being honest, whatever, he reminded me that I forgot a lot of things and during the journey of my life, why I started with music, what music means to me, why I'm doing what I'm doing. So he reminded me that, dude, you started.
Oh no!
Oh, we'll get him back. Don't worry, we'll get him back. He was getting right to the sweet point
He was
as
getting
well.
right to the good shit. Who did it? Was it Shabak?
He's gonna come back.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
He always come back.
Yeah, I can just jump in, Amir, and finish he's gonna say what he learned, and he's gonna say what he wants. But I can definitely talk about how unique the collaboration is, because he's a musician. You can see he's an actor, he's a singer, he's like an energetic type, ADHD type of guy, like he can't sit his ass down more than 45 minutes. And I'm a more deep person, more into spirituality, authenticity, and reading. So our whole collaboration is based on differences rather than similarities. Like he brings the vibe and I bring the depth, and together we are able to sit down and talk about very interesting things. When I push us to go deep, he pushes us to be fun. And I think that together it's a very unique combination. We don't have exactly the same aspirations, but we nurture each other with the differences that we have. And this really gives us a lot of motivation to keep working together, whether it be in educational lectures to high school students across the region, and whether it be musical collaborations with the biggest artists in Israel and Palestine. And we have the potential to do great things, and that's what's exciting about this duo.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. And I think, both of your kind of guys, different personalities, it really comes to
Gives a great
fruition
contrast.
in the music video itself. You can see that you have two very different personalities there together. Thank you so much,
Hey,
Saz.
Party
he's
guys.
You're back. You're back.
You see what happened every time the Palestinian guy speaking his truth, the government
Yeah,
shut me
yeah.
down. The government shut me down.
Oh,
No,
man.
I just forgot
It was too
to
dangerous.
charge my. I forgot to charge my laptop. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
So
no
that was the
worries.
same problem. That's why I'm moving right now. My computer was about to die, so I just quickly
Oh.
ran over to the charger.
I didn't
No
notice
wo-
that. Didn't notice it. Sorry, my bad. I'm
No
sorry.
worries, Habibi. No
Oh,
worries.
all
So
good.
you were right in the middle, Saz. You were right in the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah.
So what I was saying that
Right in the
This-
middle with you.
this time I felt like the process. We built everything. We were meeting, discussing everything, like from feelings, love, everything you want. And then we went to the project, to the Let's Talk Straight. We spoke about things that never spoke before. I saw how much open-minded Uriya came and how much he was listening to me, and he just didn't judge me. He was him. He was listening to Sameh. First time I felt that somebody's hearing me without being judgmental. And I remember the last sentence I said. So when Uriya had it from first minute, he said it's gonna be big. It's gonna be like huge. I thought like maybe like in Israel, maybe in Palestine, but for a second, honestly, for a second, I never believed it's gonna blow up like that ever. Like every time I have an interview, every time we speak with people, me and Uriya, I repeat it all the time because I'm reminding myself that wow, what happened? We never believed that we're gonna be on New York Times cover, on CNN, BBC. Like it went crazy, man. And the minute we released the video, then I really started to be excited, and then I understood that we did something bigger than us. I did something bigger than myself,
100%.
and I stepped up the game. And this time, it's not Saz the rapper; it's Sameh Zakut. It's Sameh. Now people sees me as Sameh. And even supporters and my family, they were shocked. They were like, first time we see you natural, dugri, simple, no masks on, we didn't even have makeup literally in the video. It was us. And it just went huge. It's my best video ever I released in my life and entire career. We hit numbers that I never imagined. And I got a lot of lessons from Let's Talk Straight and the Duri duo. And every time I learn, every time we meet, every time until now, I'm still learning. And after 20 years to get this kind of love and support and attention, and at first I didn't had words to say. Every interview was Uriya talking more because I was speechless. I couldn't describe my feeling of what happened. And I thank God for that. I thank God that He gave me this ability to, in this journey of life, to get to know Uriya. For me, it's a bless. So it just gave me a lot of lessons, man. And until now, I'm speechless.
Incredible. Incredible. And I can only wish you guys the utmost success in your future endeavors and your future collaborations. I was impacted hugely by this song as well. When it came out, I was like, man, these guys have they've brought just the most utter realness to music. And I'm very picky when it comes to what I listen to. Commercial stuff, mainstream stuff, I'm really, not into. I'm very much into the hip hop scene in the UK, growing up, and the old school American stuff. And to see the collaboration, and it was just incredible. One thing that I did want to ask you, Uriya, Sameh has said a few times that when you came to him with the idea, that you were so confident that it was going to succeed and that it was going to blow up. Where did that confidence come from? Like, where did that inner like belief and feeling come from?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, first of all, it came from myself. Like I've been through a personal journey that made me understand myself in a deep way. And like, if I do something that I believe in, then I know it's gonna be good. And if I do something that I know it's not gonna be good, then it's very clear to me. Like I'm straightforward with myself, in a sense. The second thing was that it took a long time to create this. I didn't come to him with an idea. I came to him after a 2-year personal journey, meeting Arabs and Jews across the country, doing massive research, and investing my free time in transforming the people that I met and their opinions into a 7-minute rap song, which I tailor made. I put exactly on the model that John Lucas created, and like there was a lot of energy and resources of mine invested in this project. So I knew the background. I knew how much work was put into this. The third part of the answer is the relevancy. Like Jews and Arabs, like it's such a big issue for us, and it's such an like there is no solution. Like Jared said, people don't know how to tackle this issue, and it's such a big issue. So I knew it would be relevant. And the fourth part of the answer is, like the method we used is so innovative because of the political correctness era. Like people are just bullshitting each other, and they are afraid to use the harsh truth. So using the method of putting all the nasty shit and all the nasty words on into the face of the people, who are kind of locked inside this 7-minute, swearing contest. So I feel like this is a very strong method to create emotions and to create an emotional slap in the face that I knew was coming. Like we basically generated it in order to make people feel and want to ask, who are these two Jews, like Jewish and Arab couple, who are talking like nobody talked before. So that gave me the confidence. Those four aspects.
Yeah, I want you guys to know, like, when that video came out, like, I was studying that video, and like, I'm not even really into rap. Like, that was like, there's like, I watch one rap video a year, and I wasted it all on you guys. I want you guys to know that.
That's amazing, Jared. Thank you.
It's like not my. I was studying that video because, like, for me, I enjoyed the lyrics. The lyrics hit home, but I was also like really focusing on the cinematography, like the choices of background with the situation. How like you also had like someone who was just sitting there, like getting ready to have lunch at his like labor at like his job, where he's just working with his hands, and this Jewish guy just walks up, and like I was studying that, I was like, it's an interesting choice. I was like, every time I was just going back and forth, I was looking in the background, just seeing like who's there, like what's going on, like trying to see like. I was thinking, like, where's they made like the deeper choices here in the background? Because if they put that much thought into the words, they had to have put more thought into the settings. I just want to know, am I right on that?
Every millimeter. Now, look, some of it was coincidental. We got the garage for free. They let us use it. It's a mutual ownership of a Jew and an Arab in Israel. So it's a very nice place. And they told us, listen, just sit in the middle, do whatever you want. We will keep walking around you. So everything around us is authentic. Cars moving out, people under the car fixing stuff, super authentic. But other than that scenario, everything was on the spot, like the way we wanted to film it, where we want to put the focus. And also we had an amazing partner, we should say that, like Vadim Makina. He's like a revolutionary artist in Israel. And he's like, a guerrilla of cinematographer. Like he does everything on his own. Really cool dude, and he helped us a lot to convey our message. But like the hummus on the table, the bottle of Coke, like how come we are not punching each other in the face, Jared? The Jew and an Arab throwing nasty shit at each other. How are they not fighting physically?
Because you might spill the hummus
on the table. Exactly. So that was the solution we chose, and that was like a lot of thought behind this. A three-year project.
Incredible. Now, I might set the conflict right back off with the next question, but I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna ask it anyway, guys. I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Get your silencers on.
What language is better to rap in, Arabic or Hebrew?
Arabic.
Arabic and not even argument, man. Sorry, with all due
Yeah.
respect to Hebrew.
I've heard Hebrew rap. It's absolute utter garbage.
No,
Arabic rap is cool.
not garbage. It's not
Sounds
garbage.
cool.
But the Arabic is just, it flows better in your ears because the Arabic language, when you sing it, it's more musical. But I agree with you, Jared. I agree. Arabic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uriya,
no contest. Don't
how
even
do you
think
feel
about
on that one?
I agree.
Yeah, no, I think we all agree in this one as well.
Yeah.
I think the Arabic does sound fantastic. I think the Hebrew also sounds good. I don't know if saying Hebrew rap is garbage, Jared. There are a few good rappers out there in Israel as well doing their thing, especially
I'm
recently.
sure there are, but you know me, I'm already biased on this. I'm a rock guy.
I know, but
So maybe you should check out rock Arabic music. I can send you a couple of links for rock musicians in Lebanon and Palestine even.
You wouldn't be the only guy to send me Arab rappers. I've heard a lot of them, and it sounds better. I have no idea what they're saying, but it sounds a lot better than like all the stuff I hear in Hebrew. I'm just saying, I could jam out to the Arab one.
Nice. Well, guys, we are coming towards the end of our time, the end of the show today. I just want to make it clear that it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on the Open Peace podcast. And of course, you're welcome back anytime you want. If there's anything pressing that you want to talk about, or if there's like a new release of a new song, anything that you guys are up to, Uriya, with regards to education, if you'd like to do a special episode with regards to education and how we can really help the younger generation here and get through to them, we'd be happy to help. And I do wish you all the best in your future endeavors. I'm sure you guys, you have a long road ahead of you, full of surprises and great things are coming to you, young gentlemen, on the way. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you so much for having us. It was a great pleasure. Like, we want to encourage people who are listening and anyone else, to reach out to us if they have an idea for a collaboration, for an artistic endeavor, for anything connected to education or music. And also Sameh is, big on the social media. Sameh?
Yeah, so of course, everybody have to follow, subscribe, and join our journey, our amazing project, Dugri, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please, like, anybody want to spread the word. That's the only thing we need right now. Just spread the word, and hopefully future surprises on the way.
Definitely.
All right. Should we get ready for the ending, Amir?
Yeah, just before the ending. Yeah, what Sameh said there. You can find all the links to the guys' content down below, to Dugri, to the music video, to Let's Talk Dugri. So yeah, please do check these guys out. Subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, we'll see you next time on the Open Peace podcast. And again, pleasure to have you guys. And Uriya, Chag Sameach, and Sameh Habibi. I hope you have a lovely weekend, bro. When it comes.
Too. And Merry Christmas to anybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas is coming up soon as well. It is.
But before that, I don't know if you can. Also, just so you guys know, on this show, I am the immortal God being that brings us all out of and into existence as I wish. And this is how it happens.
Yeah, Jared's a very special guy, Saz. Very special.
Huh?
Yeah, slap me. Slap me, woman. Slap me.
She's not gonna do it, Jared. She's
She
not gonna
doesn't want
do
to be
that.
part of the joke.
No. You're gonna have to do it yourself, my friend.
Yeah. Self-harm. Like a Pokemon. All right.
And to all our viewers as well, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas on the way, for sure.
All right.
Take care, guys. Thank you. Shukran.
Shukran ktir. Shukran ktir.
You say Afwan. After Shukran.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Afwan, Habibi, Afwan.
Afwan.